Like a trusted turnout jacket you've had for years, Flex 7 outer shell fabric delivers a perfectly broken-in feel on the very first wear. Flexible, comfortable, and powered with the strength of Enforce technology, Flex 7 outer shell fabric is made to move. To learn more, visit tenkatafabrics.com/flex7. Flex 7, powered by Enforce technology, only from Tenkata Protective Fabrics. Hey, good afternoon. This is Pete Prokilo, online editor with Fire Engineering, here with the 5 Questions on Training podcast. And this is a highly irregular podcast series. We'll be taking a look at some of the various training outfits active in the U.S. Fire Service. You know, there are many out there. They have a great deal of influence. Some of them you might have heard of more than others. And so today we're going to be talking with Forrest Reeder, who is a longtime fire engineering contributor and author of many of our most popular drill series over the years, from back over the decades, really, at this point. Not to date him too much, but Forrest began his fire service career in 1978 and retired as fire chief of the Tinley Park, Illinois Fire Department in 2021. He's got a Master of Science degree in Public Safety Administration in 2004, and is the author of Fire Department Incident Safety Officer, the 4th edition, and co-author of Fire Service Instructor Principle and Practices, now in its 3rd edition. In 2008, he received the ISFSI George D. Post Instructor of the Year Award, and he's been a regular presenter here for us at FDIC International. These days, he's the mind behind MAD, Training and Response Solutions, which you can find online at thetrainingofficer.com. Am I saying that right then? MAD Training?
Yep. And that's Making a Difference, MAD. Yeah,
making a difference. Okay, yeah. Not totally out of your mind, right?
Yeah, right. Well, you never know.
I guess so, right? So, Forrest, you want to tell us a little bit about your career in the fire service, how you got started, and that?
Yeah, no, thanks, Peter. You definitely hit on a couple of the highlights there. I retired just a couple of years ago as fire chief, and up till that point, roughly 46 years in the business. Did a little bit of everything, and 3 or 4 really great fire departments. Most of my career was based on training as a training officer, training and safety officer in 2 different departments for a while, and always tried to focus on trying to make people better, make our jobs safer for us, and that as we went along, and through that time tried to contribute, as you said, through a bunch of the different drills at Fire Engineering, and of course our good friend Billy Goldfeder and Firefighter Close Calls. Between the 2 efforts, I think, we probably did about 600 different articles and different contributions to engineering and close calls and that over the year in kind of a quick drill fashion, where we just tried to focus on a single objective, a single skill, a single thought of the day, or whatever it was. And we ran out a whole bunch of different variations. Thanks to you giving me a real wide berth on the platform there. And we did some really good stuff on the rookie versus the veteran, and kind of comparing learning and experience styles and different things like that, and how we bring those together. We did some really good company officer development work over the years, and that on the engineering site, and at FDIC, I think 25 plus years now. We were able to present a bunch of different variations in the Training Officer 101 workshop series that Chief Rudy Horst from McHenry Township, Illinois, and I put together back in the early 90s in Illinois. And then the good Chief Halton was nice enough to extend us the opportunity to present on that, I think starting in 99, 2000, somewhere right in that area. So about 25 years of time with that class at FDIC on the training officer responsibilities. And we've done some other work on officer development under Rudy's brand, and obviously now starting to look at a little bit more on the recruitment, retention, succession planning, being a better instructor series, and things like that. And that's kind of where we sit today. Happy to be retired. I miss the job immensely and fiercely every single day, but I've stayed active in the International Society of Fire Service Instructors, out teaching a few of their courses and helping with some of the development of those content, and with the Illinois Fire Service Institute, the Illinois Fire Chiefs, and kind of making my way around to different state conferences and instructor development work around the country. So I've been told by many that I suck at retirement, and really just stop wearing a uniform every day, and which I guess is probably pretty true, but loving life and doing it.
Awesome. Yeah, and so not to circle back on the drill bit, you had we've been talking recently about how the popularity of these drills, even certainly on the fire engineering side and on Chief Goldfeder's side as well, but that with the back to basics theme of the safety stand down coming up, we just kind of wanted to revisit some of them. So if folks are watching, you need drill ideas. You can search for Chief Reader on the fire engineering site, and you're going to find a bunch of drills there. And I think you were mentioning that you still get some demand for some of those, even though they're a couple years old now, but still useful and applicable.
Yeah, no, I think so. Back to basics is definitely it's a little bit of a cliche out in the business, but I've always tried to demonstrate a core competency type of a principle in developing training programs, and I've really tried to center that down on kind of the big three concept now, that most training should revolve and center around the big three. Three, four maybe skills that we get to a mastery level. For the firefighters, I think it's hose ladders and SCBA. That really, without a good mastery of those things, the rest of the stuff, I won't say it doesn't matter, but it's definitely harder to accomplish. And objective wise, we don't quite hit the mark on it if we really can't master the ability to work with our hose and nozzles, to work with our SCBA and our PPE, and to be able to be very, very proficient at a super high level with our ladders and that. And through the rest of the area, and again, if we get the opportunity through the stand down and that coming up in June, to kind of center on the back to basics, there's probably 50 of those, I think, on the engineering side, that we focus just on, a weekly skill drill, kind of thing. And, we built a catalog with you guys on weekly skill drills that, just by the name of it, it's just a single back to basic skill. None of them took, I'd say, probably more than 10 or 15 minutes for a single firefighter to go through it a couple of times, probably noticing some immediate improvement, because some of those skills we don't get back out and touch many times, just based on we don't do it in the field, and if we don't do it in the field, sometimes we don't reflect it in the training program. But it's only going to take that one time, and falls under the it's fine until it's not, kind of thing there, that if we don't have that skill set mastered, we don't get a redo, we don't get a do over, we don't get to kind of reset the play and go back over it again. So thus was born the weekly skill drill catalog, and I think in that series there's 130, about 2 years worth of individual drills, and even had some friends contribute some really good EMS skill drills and things like that. And we have about a year of those, and we've been in the process now, just looking at some of the officer development side, so that we have a weekly officer development drill too, so that it, again, that single objective, single topic, and just kind of take a few minutes just to go back and try to master your craft as a firefighter or EMS or driver operator or company officer, and all the way up to the incident commander pieces in that. So that's kind of my call to action there, is to figure out what matters in your organization and move your people up to that higher level of proficiency and ability and critical thinking models and things like that being applied to it. I really think can make this stand down something special, and something that will really kind of re-energize that core level of skill development in many fire departments now.
So, and that's something we get a lot of, just going back to the officer development, we do get requests for, I guess people maybe don't have programs of their own for the departments, so they do look for that kind of instruction. At least we've seen that in years past. But can you tell us a little, so now moving on to MAD, training. Tell us a little bit more about this initiative, when it started, the impetus behind it, and some of the features,
Sure.
I guess, that you've got going on.
Yeah, the MAD, my little acronym, because sometimes I get a little bit mad about some of the things you see on the videos and on the fireground and things like that. That somebody missed the boat in terms of a training or a competency type of thing there. So I use the MAD acronym, and our good friend Paul Combs made the logo up for me. But the MAD is making a difference, and it's making a difference, training and response solutions, and with that is kind of the consulting arm of what I've tried to do, not just at retirement, but leading up to that. Been about 20 years now that I've had that as a little bit of a private enterprise and company, and through that at my website at thetrainingofficer.com. Again, not selling anything off of there, nothing like that. It's just a kind of a resource dumping ground for the classes that I go and do, and the programs that I have available to go out and teach. And there's kind of a neat little niche page on there called the Training Officer Help Center. That the policies and the forms and the templates and things that I've developed over the years, I kind of put those in there just so that somebody who's kind of struggling for maybe some of that content can go and dig in a little bit and grab some of that stuff and put that to work in their departments. And I don't like to think I'm getting too old, to think I can get out and do those things. I still think I got, a bunch of wind behind my sails and a lot of energy to get out and, help on the consulting side and, on the instructor and professional development side. But I also fully realize that, there's urgency to some people trying to look for information. And that's why I try to put that stuff out there with it. It does correspond to a degree with my book, The Fire Service Instructor Principles and Practices. It's from another publisher, but I've had the opportunity to work on that book now, getting ready to start on the 4th edition. So that'll be 20 years that book has been alive. And additionally with that, I'm working on the Incident Safety Officer rewrite. So the companion to that is the Incident Safety Officer .com. So I've got the trainingofficer.com and the incidentsafetyofficer.com, just so I can take the resources and things like that and get them out to people to help them do their jobs a little bit better. Kind of says it around the patch and the logo. Kind of the 4 pillars I've built my training on are to make somebody a little bit better, a little bit faster, a little bit safer, and a little bit smarter. And I've always made that my core calling, that as an instructor, a training officer, our job is to do those 4 things, is to make somebody a little bit better, faster, safer, smarter. And if you're not hitting one of those, you're really wasting their time and your time. So you really have to figure out how the audience is going to be better, faster, safer, or smarter. And then with that, if you hit the grand slam and get all 4 of them or whatever there, you've really done what we're supposed to do to make sure that everyone goes home and no one gets hurt. We deliver the excellent service that that we're sworn to do, and that our members retire happy and healthy. So between those kind of 8 principles that I've been preaching for the better part of more than half of my career, I think we've done a good job in trying to push that message across and trying to at least for my brand and my products, try to make sure that those things are out there for us. So I appreciate the opportunity to kind of plug that a little bit and talk about that. And again, from the keynoting opportunities, and from doing the big stage and smaller workshops and small individual departments to regional and state conferences and things like that. I've had the good fortune to be in 2 countries and 35 states in the U.S. and I'd love to be able to get out and round that out and be able to check them all off at some point down the road here. So, but thanks for that chance to chat about that.
Oh yeah, no problem. And for those folks out there who are watching and are interested, we're going to have links, in down in the little description area here for the books and for training, the trainingofficer.com. So they'll be able to check that out and maybe have you out. And talk to us a little bit about the Illinois Fire Service Institute, your involvement, and what they're up to there.
Yeah, no, super excited. I'm a I hate to almost admit it now, Peter, but I'm a graduate of the Illinois Fire Service Institute, the Fire Academy, class of 1983, and from that point on, um, I have taken virtually every certification class and professional development class at the institute. Again, the IFSI, Illinois Fire Service Institute. That's the State Fire Academy in Illinois, and they're doing some amazing work in professional development and working hard on trying to go outside of the certification tracks to bring other groundbreaking programs. Again, FDIC was gracious enough to allow us to feature the Red Under Fire program at the Institute over the last few years there, again, to rave reviews and great outcomes by the students as well as our instructor staff and Director Keegan and Deputy Directors Moore and James Moore and Heather Moore, have really charged the staff with coming up with stuff, courses, whether it's a handoff, 1 hour session or a 4 hour session, or developing individual branded courses at IFSI that are specific to our core mission of helping firefighters do their job. And I've been tasked with a new project just in the last couple of years that I'm super excited to talk about just for a couple minutes if I could, called the Firefighter Teamwork Initiative. And the Firefighter Teamwork Initiative, I did have a chance to talk with Larry Connolly and the Glue guys earlier this year just a little bit about it, and we got a ton of really good feedback on it. So I'm hoping this kind of generates some more energy behind that course. And what that is we're taking the concepts of crew resource management, again, very, very successful in keeping airplanes in the air and in reducing operating room errors and reducing pipeline emergencies and things like that by getting people to talk better and communicate better at the team level, discussing things and asking questions in a correct way that garners more of a collaborative type of response and things like that. And as I inherited the project through a AFG grant to develop the curriculum, I kind of saw it evident that firefighters didn't want to hear about cockpit management in an airplane. They didn't want to hear about operating room or bedside protocols for nurses and doctors and things like that. They wanted to hear how the concepts of crew resource management can tie to the fire service. So we rebranded that as the Firefighter Teamwork Initiative because we're going in several different lanes as the product starts to merge out. And what we've done with that is we've adapted the principles of CRM to the fire service so that it sounds like us, it looks like us, it walks like us, it talks like us, all that good stuff there, so that firefighters and officers, and specifically at the company level, we build high performance teams by learning how to ask questions, how to give orders, how to collaborate on ideas and shared mental models and things like that to get everybody looking at everything in a similar way, so that we can have what we'll call a divergence of opinion, that we've got diverse viewpoints of reading the building when it's on fire, or looking at the resources available and how they should properly be developed, or questioning maybe a tactic that has been ordered in a non-offensive, non-breaking the chain of command, type of a way, or things like that, to make it a successful outcome. And tying back to it, that's why airplanes fly, with a success rate that they do, because pilots from the first entry into ground school to the time that they're piloting, the greatest, 787 or whatever it is today, they're taught the same thing, and it's constantly reinforced that yes, someone's in charge and someone is ultimately going to make the decision. But the team in the cockpit, the team on ground control, flight control, all those other good things that manage the aircraft, and that they're all talking and thinking the same way, and they know how to ask the right questions to the right person to get the right outcome. And we talk about advocacy statements, and we've got some really, really cool little sets and reps exercises that we teach, through the course there. And as that continues to evolve, right now we have a 4-hour awareness course up and running. Very soon we will have a 24-hour operations course. And then the technician level course would be a full 40-hour immersion in the concepts of CRM applied to the fire service that will take everybody from understanding what it is to getting to a super high level of applying it to fireground operations and eventually just building better teams at the company level. So we're really excited to see how that product continues to evolve and starts to come out a little bit later this year. So my thanks to the director, Director Keegan, and the command staff, executive staff at the Institute for allowing me to mess with that product and hopefully build something that they can be proud of and that the fire service in Illinois and beyond can garner a great deal of resource. And we had a great pilot course at Winter Fire School in mid-January or February, whenever it was now, and we had 25 students in the class, and the reviews were over the top with the applicability of that, especially in a combination or a volunteer community, maybe even more than that of a career department, because with varying styles of different leaders and different crews being assembled, literally at the drop of a text message, the need for this type of a communication process and involvement of the teamwork principles and looking at situation awareness and looking at some of the shared mental models that are out there are really where this thing is going to do good stuff for us.
So for folks interested in that material, where would they, I'm sure we'll include the URL or whatever if they can contact
and then that'd be directly to me right now until we get a landing place for that at the Institute. But that is a product of the Illinois Fire Service Institute. So you'll be able to look that up very, very shortly on the Institute homepage. And we've taken it into three specific programs there. That we have our leadership development and decision making program at the Fire Service Institute, and it is embedded into that course at all three levels: the firefighter level, the officer level, and the chief officer level. We've got it in the company officer level program now for what we call company fire officer, which is Fire Officer 1 in Illinois. And we've got it embedded through the Institute in that particular program. Again, all of them having great success and feedback that, this is something we need to do. So, watch out, from the Institute for some information on that. And I'll be happy to, get some detailed information out to those who might want to see that, by the links that you'll give us at the end of the program, Peter. So thank you.
Yeah, and we'll try and pick up that news, when you have it ready on Fire Engineering as well.
Oh, great. Okay, awesome. That's great.
So yeah. So I know you do a survey. Is that an annual survey?
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'd definitely like to push that out every year in different venues. I try to push out kind of a needs assessment for training programs and training officers, instructors and training officers alike. Obviously I've been a training officer for over 30 years, plus in a variety of different settings. All different sizes and types of departments, running regional fire academies, involvement at the state level, and things like that. And, I'm always interested to hear what the needs of people who come to classes and are looking to try to, improve their performance. So 3 years ago, with your help, we pushed out a couple of surveys, and I think almost instantly, I think we had like 650 responses back on the needs of a training officer and a fire service instructor today. And at FDIC this year, we push out our little QR code now because that's what all the cool kids are doing, using the QR codes and things like that. But we do have a link to a Google form that asks, I think, 15 questions about needs for a training officer and an instructor in terms of professional development. And it's intended to be well above what the NFPA standards are. It's more on what do we need to do for continuing education for instructors and training officers, and what every year I base my submission for the FDIC class on. So the feedback that I get from that helps me shape the training officer and instructor graduate school, as well as the International Society of Fire Service Instructors Instructor Development Workshop. So it helps me shape those things, as well as when I go out on the road and do my different state conferences and instructor development workshops around the country with that. I look at the results of that survey and write the content, based on that, so that everything is kept on a message as possible. So If we can kind of push that information out and get some people to jump in on that, it is located on my homepage at thetrainingofficer.com. But I certainly need the strength of fire engineering to get that out, to the masses, just to get a more diverse, viewpoint of hey, what's what are you struggling with as instructors, and some of the responses I've gotten already today, and somebody just the other day, Pete gave me a really really good one out there that uh, in our organization. I'm reading this little note here. We struggle on how do we take a instructor from instructor one certification at the 1041 level to make them an instructor. So kind of see what they did there. So hey,
Yeah.
they went and they got a 40-hour instructor one somewhere. Now how do we make them an instructor? So from that, we sent them some information on some boot camp information and things that we have out there, and kind of outside of the the 1041 competencies. Another one, mandates obviously being a big issue. That the new OSHA standard rewrite that's coming out is going to be a gigantic impact for the fire service, especially the training people, because there's a ton that go along those lines. How do we introduce innovation and operations within our organization? That if you're looking at the amazing work that the Firefighter Safety Research Institute, the good folks at UL, are doing for us there in terms of, maybe water mapping, or maybe some of the different studies on search and rescue, the multifamily study that's currently going underway, and hey, I see there's value to that. How do I integrate that into my department? I kind of go back to that drill set that we did before, Pete, where we did the rookie versus the veteran. And, kind of the challenge there is that, folks don't realize oftentimes that the rookie is getting trained on that in the academy, and they have that vocabulary, and they have that sense of what those things are going to be. And the veteran has got the experience on maybe, well, now we have a name for it, and now we have a label for what those things are, and how in teaching that innovation and operations, the challenge that's going to be, because we're going to have a station that's going to be SEAL Team 6, and then I'm going to have a station that's going to be the Land of Misfit Toys. And the next day, I'm going to have a bunch of people who are treading water, just trying not to create any waves and trying just to be able to get through the shift and make sure that everybody goes home. So the challenge for the instructor is figuring out with a bunch of diverse sets of audiences like that, how do they train on that, and how do they get their better, faster, safer, smarter point out when it comes to innovation and operations, and just figuring out we sometimes also lose sight, and another really good one that I kind of think there's going to be some meat on the bone to, is that there's a lot of scrapping going on out there about the new generation of firefighters, and that we're really struggling to get people to sign up and come do the job that I've loved doing, for 40 plus years, and we're really, having a hard time. So those people coming on the job are, supposedly different and with different values and different learning styles, which probably is true. But, also with that is, by the time many of us are where we're at in our careers, is those folks are already becoming officers in the organization, Pete. They don't realize that, you're beating up the younger generation coming on as firefighters, but for maybe the career span of many of the training officers and instructors who might listen, to our discussion here today, some of those folks are already officers. They've already been on the job for 5 and 10 years, and because of attrition and rollover, that they're already getting promoted, and they're already in a position of leadership and responsibility and greater levels of authority much earlier in their career than a lot of us other ones were able to do. So that came up as another one there, that don't just think about today's firefighter, think about today's officer, who does look different than that of the the more supervisory level people that we have here today. So again, we'll hopefully push that survey out. Again, if you don't see it on the resources that Pete gets up for us here, the trainingofficer.com, it's going to be right on the center of the homepage there. Just snap that QR code or hit the link that's right below it, and help me out with that survey. I'm going to leave that up for probably another 60 days here, and then I'm going to roll up the sleeves and get to work on putting some content together. So we've got some good workshops and some stuff that I'll put up on the website and have available to the users to go ahead and grab there.
Yeah, we will definitely, I know I've said it before and we haven't done so yet, but we will definitely push out the survey on fire engineering. We'll have it in our newsletter and such. So if folks watching this, you want to contribute to the survey, it's always useful. So I guess just to wrap things up here,
Yeah.
You're going to give advice to a training officer, a company officer out there involved in training.
Okay.
What would it be?
Well, right now that kind of starts with be what right looks like. Be what right looks like. The classes that I teach right now, and we always start out with what does right look like. You've got some challenging student environments. You've got some challenging politics in your department. The training officer is always the person who is in that pivotal role to make that impact. And tied to the be what right looks like are kind of the five pillars of the always types of things. I know we don't say always, but as a training officer specifically, my philosophy might differ from others that are doing other things out there, but my philosophy is to be what right looks like and always be teaching, always be leading, always be learning, always be the example, and always make a difference. And every time we do an informal cup of coffee, just talking about an operation that maybe didn't go so good, we were slow to get water to the line, or we overpumped the line, or we didn't do a good 360 and we missed some things on the Charlie side or things like that. A cup of coffee, training can make that difference in the terms of committing people to a better way of doing things. And every conversation has the ability to make somebody better, faster, safer, smarter. So if you are being what right looks like, always be in teaching. I'm not a good I don't hang with the cool kids like you do, Pete, with the the hashtags and all the other good social media movements. But my hashtag would be always be teaching, always be learning. Those would be the two for the fire service instructor and the training officer today. Is always be learning and always be teaching. So bringing that together. Most of the best chiefs I ever worked for and have had the ability to call peers and friends that lasted through a career were great people that came through the training ranks that were instructors. They worked in academies. They had their own training cadre and program out there. They became training officers in their department. That they became the best leaders that I've ever had the privilege to serve with and to work under because of the impact that training has at the individual level and the department level. So that'd be my advice is the short course on that is don't suck. Be prepared, get out there and do your research. There's a lot of Google searchers out there who are fact checking everything that you say in the class and things like that. So be prepared for it and, be ready to, again, just like we do when we go to shift, report for duty in the classroom, report for duty at the drill ground, report for duty at the tailboard when you're talking with your crews and company so that you can make that difference to make sure that everybody goes home and no one gets hurt. Excellent service is delivered and we retire happy and healthy. It's about that better, faster, safer, smarter. And until the day that my phone stops ringing and the email stops when people don't want to hear my message, I'm going to preach that until I close up shop and just go to full-time grandpa status and things like that. So to that end, that's what I'm all about, Pete. And I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you talking about this. My passion for training, is never going to end. And matter of fact, not to plug them too much, but I'm midway through the new the rescue study on UL right now, just trying to see what I can pick up on that. So if I have a chance to have a conversation with somebody, I'm talking what the most contemporary information is. So we don't become stale and stagnant. Just trying to stay relevant.
Always be training, always be teaching. I dig it. So, well, thank you, for taking the time for us. I know, you've done a tremendous amount for both fire engineering and the fire service over the year, FDIC as well. So, what can we say but thank you? And, if you guys are interested in this stuff, we will have the links, down there in the description. So what do they say? They say like, subscribe, and follow, and all that kind of jazz. So, but thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Okay, thanks. Be safe, everybody. Thanks so much, Pete.
Like a trusted turnout jacket you've had for years, Flex 7 outer shell fabric delivers a perfectly broken-in feel on the very first wear. Flexible, comfortable, and powered with the strength of Enforce technology, Flex 7 outer shell fabric is made to move. To learn more, visit tenkatafabrics.com/flex7. Flex 7, powered by Enforce technology, only from Tenkata Protective Fabrics.